Hey, this is Judiette, and I'm doing something totally different for Inktober this year. Since I'm mainly doing meta art currently, I wanted to do stuff with vermilion, and so I opted to do paintings based on serial killers for the entire month of October. The one reason I opted to do the serial killer portraits is because I couldn't come up with any paintings based on the actual Inktober prompts, like scallops. I just had no idea what to do with that. So that's why I'm doing killers, because a lot of horror movies and Halloween movies are loosely based on a serial killer or event in time. And I'm not doing this to be disrespectful to any of the victims, but it is something that needs to be brought up because a lot of the younger generation does not know how scary this world is and are not aware of some of the more horrific people in our history, in our time. So that is why I'm doing the killer portraits for my Inktober projects. Okay, so I'm going to have to be very careful how I word things as I do these videos because of the censorship with YouTube and other social media pages. So I might briefly hint on what they did so I don't full out say what it was they did. But my first guy here is Derrek Todd Lee. He was a serial killer, and he was arrested in 2003. Even though 2003 seems like a long time ago, he is a more current, I guess, type serial killer to be caught. He was mainly in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and he was sentenced to death on 2004. What makes Derrek's case so interesting is he was overlooked. The police completely overlooked him because they thought he was white. And finally, the DNA test did link him to the 7 women in that area. And you might say, well, he's obviously not white. Well, the issue was there were 2 serial killers in the same area. Him and Sean Vincent Gillis, who was white and was also killing in the same area and same time as him. That's why the 2 got mixed up. He actually did die. He died in 2016, but he died of a heart disease while he was waiting to be executed. So he never got the punishment he truly deserved for the horrific crimes. And remember earlier where I said that a lot of movies and TV uses the stories behind real people? This serial killer was mentioned in 3 episodes of Criminal Minds. Even though it was rumored that he was in connection to the crying baby urban legend, it's still mentioned on Criminal Minds. The urban legend was that he used the sound of a baby crying to lure the women. So that is why there are 3 episodes based on that urban legend. Hey, so this is a painting on Alieene, who spawned the movie Monster back in 2003, which took you from her first murder all the way up to her execution. She actually had a very tragic childhood, as her parents were divorced. Her father committed suicide in prison, and her mother abandoning the kids to the grandparents. She was adopted out, but then began doing really bad activity like smoking, drinking, drugs, and doing things with her brother. She's said to have also been attacked by the grandfather in many different ways. I can't mention through Facebook or YouTube. And then she became pregnant when she was 14 by her grandfather. Her major crime and arrest started about the age of 18 and never really stopped since then. She ended up killing 7 men within a year time frame, and they were ranging from 40 to 65. Most of those she claimed attacked her, even though it was her word against theirs. She was executed by a lethal injection in 2002, where she refused her last meal. She was cremated, and her ashes were scattered beneath a tree. There is this guy, his name is David Berkowitz. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's also known as Son of Sam. And he did plead guilty to 8 shootings in New York City in the 70s. Most of the serial killers that I will be painting will be from the 70s and 80s. Maybe 1 or 2 current. What makes this guy unique from the others is he claimed that he did this due to a demon forming a dog telling him to do these things. But the dog actually belonged to his neighbor. This guy served 6 life sentences. He was convicted of second-degree murder and attempted second-degree murder, and I think it's because they were able to do something with mental health on that, since he was claiming demons and stuff. In the mid-90s, he did say that he converted to being a Christian and that he was in a satanic cult in the past. And I'm not sure how that really works. I mean, if you die, obviously, from prison, and you become a late Christian, does that help you? Or is the murders going to cancel that out? I'm not really sure how that works. But that is something to question. Now, after he did get saved, I just found out he no longer goes by Son of Sam, but Son of Hope. And actually he has a book called Son of Hope, The Prison Journals of David Berkowitz. And that came out in 2006, but he's not receiving any money for it because he is why they have the Son of Sam laws, stating that he cannot get any money, royalties, or anything based off media. Because, media wants to pay you to get interviews. Yeah, he's why they cannot do that. He has been up for parole quite a bit. His next one was supposed to have been May of 2020, but that was when COVID was in full effect and he was not able to get that parole hearing. They do say he is a model prisoner, but they are still denying his parole. That would be really horrific if they decided to go ahead for good behavior or whatever to let him out. His impact on Hollywood has been pretty good as well. Spike Lee did a drama called Summer of Sam in 1999. There was also another one in 2008 that was a direct-to-video. CBS did one called Out of the Darkness. And then Seinfeld had an episode called The Diplomats Club. And Kramer uses a mailbag with that name, I guess. I don't know. I don't really watch Seinfeld, but that's what my information tells me. And there's also another TV show that used him as well. Son of Sam also has been in several songs mentioned, and seems to be very popular still. As far as I know, he is still alive because he is still waiting for his parole.